Hello everyone, I'm a 33-year-old male. Before I delve into my story, I have a question for you. What would you do if you walked in on your wife, whom you trusted so much, making out with two men on your bed? The first time I met my wife, Tracy, who was 29, was at the movies. I had gone to see a newly released film with my friends, and she was there with her girls' gang. We hit it off that day and soon started seeing each other. We dated for a year and eventually got married. What began as a simple friendship soon turned into one of my saddest love stories. At the beginning of our marriage, being with Tracy felt like a blessing. We were happy together, and I did everything I could as a husband to support her dreams and encourage her to strive for more. For the first 2 years, we had a solid marriage. Tracy was sweet, supportive, and smart. I would love to say that she was everything I wanted in a woman: a great cook, a fantastic personality, an elegant person, and truthful. If there was one thing I loved the most about her, it was her honesty. While Tracy worked at a fast food restaurant, I was a graphic designer, working with an organization that printed banners, billboards, and other designs. We both earned a decent income, but I took on most of the spending at home because Tracy used her money to pursue her passion. Before we married, she had told me that being an actress was her childhood dream, but her parents had never supported her in that pursuit. They insisted she study something else in college, as they did not see acting as a noble profession. When Tracy shared her lifelong dream of becoming an actress with me, I told her it was fine. As someone who had never pursued my profession, I understood what it felt like to be passionate about something and not have the opportunity to do it. I supported Tracy in signing up for drama clubs, volunteer roles, and other acting opportunities that brought her closer to her dreams. We planned for her to attend a theatre art academy in the coming years once we had enough money saved. One of the reasons I encouraged Tracy to pursue her acting career was that she was naturally talented. Aside from being a bit of a drama queen, she was exceptionally good at acting. Before we met, she had taken a few courses and watched countless videos on YouTube. All of these efforts showed how serious she was, and I didn't want to be the one who held her back. We decided to pause on having kids because of our plans for her and her academy. I believed that by the time she graduated, she would land significant roles in plays, dramas, or even movies. I even thought that it was I who kept encouraging her to volunteer for various dramas and plays so she could showcase her talent. I genuinely wanted the best for her, and wanted her to be successful. When Tracy asked if I was okay with her pursuing her passion as an actress, we were still in our first year of marriage, and everything felt lovey-dovey between us. We rarely fought or had serious arguments. She was like a sweet peach who respected and treated me with love. For the first year, Tracy kept applying for different volunteer roles online, but struggled to get any response. There was a time when she became frustrated due to the lack of opportunities, and decided to focus on her new job. I continued to encourage her not to give up. Thankfully, months after we celebrated our first anniversary, she received a response from one of her applications. It was for a play, and they were looking for several new actors and actresses. Tracy was over the moon when she got the news, and I was thrilled for her. The great part was that the screening was held in our town, so she had enough time to prepare. When the day of the screening arrived, Tracy passed and was selected. She was ecstatic when she broke the news to me. Another good piece of news was that they would pay them for their time. Their rehearsals for the play would mainly take place on Saturdays and Sundays. I had no idea that once she started rehearsals, her behavior would change entirely. For the first few weeks, everything remained the same between us. Our communication was still strong, and we continued to enjoy our time together. The only difference was that we spent less time together on weekends than before. Her rehearsals occupied those days because she would wake up in the morning, clean the house, cook, leave for rehearsals, and return in the evening. Even though I wasn't comfortable with the new development, I couldn't voice my concerns because I didn't want to jeopardize her first official opportunity. Besides, her weekend compensation was greater than what she earned during the entire week. As the weeks passed, Tracy and I started to become distant. To keep myself busy, I began playing video games, hanging out with some friends, or inviting them over to my house. My friends were people I had known since high school and college. So I trusted them and listened when I told them about Tracy's passion for acting and her gig that took up her time. One of my friends, Eric, advised me to monitor Tracy closely, because there were rumors of women sleeping with their directors to land good roles. I dismissed his advice and assured them that Tracy wasn't like that. She was very talented. Stupidly, I responded that way, and they didn't bring her up again, only advising me to keep an eye on her because new actors and actresses like Tracy had a high infidelity rate. I didn't take their words too seriously, as I was 100% sure, then, that Tracy wouldn't do anything to hurt me or ruin our happy marriage. However, those words lingered in my mind, and subconsciously, I found myself acting strangely about Tracy and asking her odd questions. When Tracy noticed how different I had become, she complained about the questions I asked and how I had been treating her. I felt compelled to apologize and told her what my friend had said. After I shared everything with Tracy, she just laughed and reassured me that she couldn't cheat on me because she loved me so much. In her words, "You're the best husband in the world, and only a foolish and ungrateful woman would cheat on you." Hearing that gave me inner peace, knowing that Tracy wouldn't cheat on me. Little did I know, she was only doing what she knew best, that she had been cheating on me. Even before our conversation, Tracy changed significantly in the following weeks in ways I can't even describe. Our conversations began to feel forced, and the excitement she had when she returned home disappeared. Before her change, Tracy would come home and enthusiastically share everything that happened during rehearsals. Although I had never attended one, I knew the names of everyone she worked with, how they looked, and their personalities because Tracy told me everything. We were that close, and I always looked forward to her updates every weekend, but now everything had come to a halt. In addition to her withdrawal, Tracy became increasingly defensive. She took offense to almost everything I said, even jokes. That used to make her laugh. It felt as if she perceived my comments as attacks. Then, she upgraded her wardrobe, wearing dresses specifically on rehearsal days that were quite revealing. I complained about her outfits several times, but she dismissed my concerns, claiming they were the latest fashion and that I was old school. While she was doing all this, I thought she was merely trying to keep up with the other actresses who dressed better than her. I knew she was competitive when it came to fashion, so the last thing that crossed my mind was the possibility of her cheating. However, I began to grow suspicious when she changed her hairstyle every week and was frequently on the phone with a man she claimed was her acting partner. One day, she did something that really angered me, and when I expressed my frustration, she yelled at me and walked out. It was the first time she had ever done something like that, and I immediately realized I had to take action. Later that evening, I spoke with my friends when they came over, and they bet that Tracy was already cheating on me. Even with all the signs and changes I had noticed, I found it hard to believe Tracy would cheat on me because I had made so many sacrifices for her to reach her current level. I argued that maybe Tracy was going through a tough time and was taking her frustrations out on me. They insisted that I was blinded by love and suggested I hire a private investigator to find out if Tracy was cheating. I didn't like the idea of someone following her around, but I agreed to it because of her changed attitude. The following week, I found a private investigator online and hired him to follow Tracy for a week. On the third day, while the investigator was following her, Tracy did not. She came home after her rehearsals the following day and told me she went to a club for one of her fellow actresses' birthday parties. She had to crash at a nearby hotel with them because she thought it was safer than coming home from a distance. The funny thing was, she didn't inform me about the birthday party at all. I kept calling her phone until 3 a.m. when she finally picked up. When she answered, she claimed she didn't hear the phone ring due to the loud music in the background. Then she lied and said she had told me about the all-night birthday party, but I knew I wasn't listening. I suspected she was lying, but I figured I would find out the truth eventually because my friend had been following her. For 7 days I didn't hear back from my friend, and by the time I did, I was out of town visiting my parents. On my way home, my friend informed me he had some things to show me, so instead of driving home, I decided to meet him at his location. Tracy had no idea I was coming home that day. We spoke the day before, which was Friday, and I told her I'd be back on Monday morning, thinking I would spend more time with my parents. But I ended up returning on Saturday. When I met my friend, he showed me things that shattered me and left me speechless. He had photos and videos of Tracy with a blonde guy who turned out to be her affair partner. There were pictures of them making out in Tracy's car, shopping, eating out, and a video from the night she claimed to be at a birthday party. Through that video, I found out she was with him the entire night. They had gone clubbing together, but left around 10 p.m. and drove to his apartment where she spent the rest of the night. It meant she had seen my calls but deliberately refused to answer them. I was shocked that Tracy cheated on me. She seemed like someone with whom I could build a promising future, but she blew that up. After my friend showed me all those pictures and videos, he told me he had followed Tracy that evening too, and that she was currently with her affair partner in my home. At that moment, I was filled with rage and wanted to break things. I was too angry to drive, so my friend took me to my house. When we arrived, I saw a blue Toyota Venza parked in my driveway, and I instantly recognized it as the same car I saw in the pictures and videos. I knew Tracy was inside with her affair partner. My friend opted to follow me inside, but I don't recall agreeing to it. The next thing I knew, I was in the house, and as I opened our bedroom door, I found Tracy and two men in the act. The tall blonde guy was on top of her while the other man was sucking her down. I was wild with anger and didn't know which of the men to attack first. Tracy was wearing sexy lingerie, and her two hands were cuffed to the bed. She tried to get up when she saw me, but her movement was restricted. I lunged at the blonde guy while the other man scurried away like a rat. Thankfully, my friend had come in with me and stopped me from committing murder. While all this was happening, Tracy was still cuffed to the bed, begging me to believe her. She said I was mistaken and that she was only rehearsing her role for the play with the man. Hearing her ridiculous excuse enraged me even more, and I felt like choking her in that vulnerable position. Instead, I left the room and told her to be out of my house by the time I returned. After I left with my friend, he told me he had recorded everything and shared the video with me. I didn't know what to do with the video, but I still took it from him. That night, I crashed at one of my friend's places, feeling so embarrassed that he was right about Tracy and her new acting career. What was even more heartbreaking was the thought of Tracy having a threesome in our room and in our bed. When I got home the next morning, Tracy was still in the house. She didn't go to her rehearsals because she knew she had messed up. When I confronted her at home, my anger escalated, and I kicked her out, throwing her stuff on the lawn. She begged me, claiming I was making a mistake, and that I should let her explain what really happened. She stayed outside for almost an hour, shouting my name and pleading for me to let her in, but after acting like I didn't hear her, I walked away. She was remorseful, but she became abusive. She called me names and left afterward. This happened last week, and I finally dared to share it here because I haven't been myself since the day I caught Tracy with those two guys. I don't know how all of this happened right under my nose. I wasn't an overly pampered Tracy or anything. We shared the bills, she did most of the chores, and I always controlled my emotions around her. I'm saying this because I've seen stories where most men ignore the red flags. Now that I think of it, I should have started my investigation from the moment our communication dropped and she upgraded her wardrobe. But is that how marriage is meant to be? Am I supposed to suspect my spouse when he or she gets new clothes or stops talking to me like they used to because they are always tired when they return from work? I don't think so. The most annoying thing is that she has been calling my phone non-stop since I kicked her out. I have been thinking of the perfect revenge and want to show the video I got to her director. Update 1. Hello everyone. Thank you for your comments. I'm glad you all don't think it's too extreme. Someone commented that I did a little investigation on the second guy in the video, and I did. Guess what, guys? I discovered he's bisexual and is currently in a relationship with Tracy's director. Tracy's director is homosexual, and I can imagine how angry and betrayed he will feel when he finds out that Tracy seduced his boyfriend. Speaking of Tracy, she showed up at my place 3 days ago. She looked so miserable, and her eyelids were swollen from crying. Unfortunately for her, my friends were at home when she came to beg me. Although they didn't say anything to her, their body language and eye rolls annoyed Tracy. She got so annoyed to see me hanging out with my friends while abandoning her that she yelled at me. So this is it, Mike. You'll let your friends disrespect your wife like this because of a small disagreement between us. The whole time Tracy was pleading with me on the porch, I didn't say or do anything. I was inside the house listening to her. But when she shamelessly made that statement, I charged out of the house to give her the hearing of her life. My friend stopped me at that moment. I was ready to be arrested for assault and wanted to be worthy of the charge. Before she left my house that day, she made a scene. She started talking about all the promises we had made to each other and how I promised to grow old with her. I was so angry, but I couldn't do anything, even if I wanted to. After waiting for a while and she didn't get any response from me, she asked about the theater art academy that I promised to support her with. I wanted to go out and tell her to go to her affair partners for support. But I wanted her to stop talking and leave already, so I didn't respond. After waiting for a while, she eventually left in shame. I have already contacted a divorce lawyer, and once the papers are ready, he will send them to her to sign. Regarding revenge, I will do as you guys have said. I understand that showing the video to her director might not destroy her career, but it will ruin everything she has worked hard for. Now that I know Tracy cheated on me with her director's boyfriend, sending the video to her director has made me even more excited. Thank you, everyone. I will make another update soon. Update 2. Hey guys, I'm so excited to make this update because things became messier for Tracy than I expected. After I made the last update, it took me 2 weeks to search for her director online, and I found him. He is just someone starting out in the movie industry as a director, and so far, he has been making waves. Tracy's director and I fixed a day to meet each other, and he showed up. He was hooked on meeting me because I told him I had something to show him about his partner and one of his actors. When we met that day, I didn't waste time talking. We exchanged pleasantries, and I showed him the video of his boyfriend, the blonde guy, and Tracy. He was so disappointed and heartbroken that he cried, no kidding. He told me he suspected his boyfriend was doing something with one of the cast members, but he wasn't sure because he never caught them. He claimed his boyfriend had cheated on him once in the past, but he forgave him because he pleaded it happened while he was under the influence of alcohol. Honestly, I wasn't so interested in what his boyfriend had done. I was more interested in what he would do to Tracy and her affair partner. When I asked him what he would do with them, he said he hadn't thought of anything yet. I told him, it would be weak of him, ... I can't believe they let her off the hook like that, especially after everything Tracy did to him. To cut the story short, Tracy's director fired her and her blonde affair partner. But I'm not sure if he broke up with his boyfriend afterward. When Tracy was let go, I felt a sense of satisfaction seeing her hard work scatter like dust in the wind. I wanted her to experience the pain of putting her 100% into something, only for it to be destroyed by someone else. By the time Tracy was fired, the divorce papers were ready, and my lawyer sent them to her on the day she received the news. That same day, she called me, begging me not to ruin everything we had worked so hard to build. I told her she destroyed it the moment she started nursing thoughts of cheating on me. I informed her that I was the one who showed the video that ruined her months of hard work with her director. I knew she would flip when she heard that, and she did. She accused me of being jealous of her and hating her ability to pursue her passion. While I couldn't, I just laughed because I understood her tactic, and then I hung up the call. She signed the divorce papers 2 weeks ago, and I'm making this update as a divorced man. Although it hurts, I'm relieved that she's no longer in my life. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and support. Now, on to the next story. Story 2. I, a 36-year-old man, just found out that my wife, a 34-year-old woman, has been cheating on me, and I don't know what to do. Let me provide some backstory. We've been together for almost 17 years and have 3 kids. We have an old house that we've been slowly restoring over the last 2 years, But our budget has been tight, with no savings and a lot of debt. She's the only woman I've ever been with, and before me. She had only a couple of one-night stands. So we were both a bit inexperienced when we met. She has been the light of my life, and we've gone through many difficult times together, always being there for one another. I thought we were one of the few couples who managed to stay on course, no matter what. Apparently, I was wrong. With everything happening trying to fix the house, both of us working full-time, making ends meet, and ensuring the kids are doing fine, we kind of lost ourselves. The bad financial situation and health-related issues didn't help either. My wife had been trying to lose weight for a long time, but nothing seemed to work for her, and her self-esteem hit rock bottom. We were both depressed, but instead of talking and consoling each other, we suffered in silence. I buried myself in computer games to escape our problems while she constantly had her nose in her phone. This spring and summer, things started to worsen. She began spending more time with her friends and going out partying while I stayed at home with the kids. I thought that if I let her blow off some steam, she would come home in a better mood, but that didn't work at all. I tried to ignore the nagging feeling in my stomach. I had heard a rumor that she was seen kissing some guy at a dance in a nearby town. When I confronted her, she denied it, claiming that the guy had tried to kiss her, but that she pushed him away. I wasn't fully convinced, but didn't want to push her too much, as I was trying to show her that I trusted her. As summer passed, I noticed she became more protective and secretive about her phone. One night in August, after seeing what her Facebook password was, I decided to take a look to see if I could find anything about that dance from earlier in the summer. What I found was much worse. I discovered that she had indeed been kissing some guy, drunk, until her friend pulled her away. But that was nothing compared to what I found next. I accessed her Messenger and Skype and discovered that she had been chatting online with two foreign guys, A and B, for months. It all started on Instagram when some random guy, A, sent her flattering messages, and she began talking to him on Skype shortly after. By early June, after only speaking to him for less than 2 weeks, she started sharing nude photos with him. After resisting for a bit, the incident with the guy she kissed happened later that month. She was chatting with this guy A, up until mid-August when he revealed his true intentions. He was a scammer with a stolen account and had been sending her pictures from that stolen profile. Yet, she had been fooled enough to share her most intimate pictures with him. By then, she seemed to be falling in love with him. Meanwhile, she had also started talking to Guy B, which also began on Instagram. And it didn't take long for that to evolve into nude pictures and sexual conversations. They were fantasizing about coming to our country to meet my wife at a hotel. She never spoke ill of me or anything like that. She just talked about me as if I were right there. If they asked, she would say that I treated her well. However, she went on to tell them how much she liked talking to them and how they made her feel good. The worst was yet to come. In one of the chats with a female friend of hers, I found some disturbing things. They attended a 2-day town festival in a nearby town in early July and stayed at a rented room, which I had agreed to, thinking it would be okay. I knew her friend, who has trouble with panic attacks, needed to stay overnight at the local hospital. What I didn't know, and what I discovered in the chat between them, was that she mentioned a 41-year-old man from our town, a married man with kids who was unhappy in his relationship. She had met him that night. He had come over to chat and had tried to go all the way, but my wife told her friend that she had stopped him. She didn't mention his name, but I found a likely suspect, as our town is small. I also discovered in my online phone records that she had sent a message to a number belonging to a guy that fit the description. I feared the worst. I didn't let my wife know what I had found yet, as I was afraid of what would happen while the kids were around. So, I put on a mask and waited until Saturday, August 24th, to confront my wife. I called my mother and asked her to take care of the kids. My wife was taking some classes to get a degree for her work, and when she came home from class, I asked her calmly to sit with me. I told her what I knew. There was no violence, yelling, or bad-mouthing, just to sad people, one of them angry and hurt. We talked the whole night. She promised that nothing had happened between her and the guy, and that what she had done online was only to boost her self-esteem a bit, as she thought I had stopped loving her. She didn't exactly blame me for it, nor did she yell at me for snooping around. She said she thought I didn't like her anymore because she wasn't losing weight. When those guys started showering her with compliments, she said she got addicted. She admitted that she had been selfish and tried to please them to keep the compliments coming, which led to her sending them nude pictures. She acknowledged that she realized she had been cheating on me, but she hadn't recognized it as such while she was doing it, even though she knew she was doing something wrong. I wanted to believe her, I truly did. We decided to try to fix our marriage and seek counseling. As the weeks passed, things seemed to improve. She had been much more affectionate and caring. Our sex life was great, and we were spending more time together than before. Still, I had a growing feeling in my stomach that she was hiding some critical information from me. After our second meeting with the marriage counselor last week, she finally admitted the truth. She confessed what I had suspected and feared, but deeply hoped hadn't happened. She had, indeed, slept with the guy that night in July, even though she claimed she felt bad and ashamed afterward. She continued to talk to him on social media. She admitted to having met him twice after that, but said nothing more occurred than some kissing. She even tried to contact him again a few days after I confronted her in August. My first response was to freeze. I didn't yell or curse or anything. I didn't harm her in any way. Part of me felt relieved that she finally admitted what I suspected, but at the same time, I felt humiliated and hurt beyond anything I had ever felt before. I didn't want to rush into anything, so I haven't thrown the ring in her face yet, nor have I confronted the other guy. I don't want to be the one to rat him out to his wife or risk getting arrested for assault. Besides, it wasn't him who broke my marriage contract, it was my wife. I don't know what to believe anymore. The woman I thought I knew would never do something like this. She's been trying to convince me that she was an idiot and selfish, and that she feels really bad about hurting me. She says she's ready to do anything to fix the situation and regain my trust. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust her again, or see her in the same light. I do love her, but the pain runs deep. I'm in a tough spot with my wife. I enjoy being around her and seeing her smile, but it really hurts my heart. I want our relationship to work for the sake of our kids and our terrible financial situation. Simply can't afford a divorce. However, I'm terrified that if I go through with this, I might lose myself and my self-respect. How can I ever forgive her for cheating on me? Not just with one guy, but with 3, well, 4, if you count that one time she kissed a random guy. She was involved both emotionally and physically with all of them for a significant amount of time. It wasn't just a one-time drunken mistake. She had real emotional and sexual relationships with 3 guys for over 2 months. It doesn't matter if 2 of those relationships were online. She still planned to meet them, knowing full well what would happen. Has anyone here gone through something similar and have any good advice? I know it's easy to just say, divorce her, man, and move on, but it's not that simple. I still have feelings for her, and I'm worried about what will happen to our kids and our families. I also fear that if I divorce her, which would mean her family and friends would know the truth, she might harm herself, or at least be in a mental state that would negatively influence our kids. We also have an unfinished house and no savings, and we need to finish fixing it before we can sell it. After receiving a lot of great comments from you guys and talking with my closest friends, I finally mustered enough courage to trust myself. I opened my eyes to the reality. I deep down knew that there was no way I could get over what my wife did. So, last Thursday, I told her I wanted to end our marriage. I think she saw it coming. She didn't seem surprised, and didn't even try to persuade me otherwise. She became like a broken record. Nothing I said seemed to change anything. There was lots of crying, and she even called in sick to work. Since then, we've been telling our closest friends and family about the pending divorce. However, she has been incredibly hesitant to admit to her parents what she did. My mother knows everything, but for some reason, I agreed not to tell my in-laws yet. Maybe I'm afraid of starting a war between my soon-to-be ex-wife and me, So I agreed to give her time to tell them. When we met with them last Sunday, we informed them about the divorce. But since we had to leave 2 of our kids with them for 3 days due to a school holiday, it didn't feel like the right time to explain the full truth. We simply said, there were some unsolvable disagreements, which felt terrible to say because they seemed so disappointed. They've been part of my family for almost 17 years, and I care about them deeply. They've been so supportive to us over the years, both financially and emotionally. And they love spending time with our kids. I felt awful about lying to them. But I worry that if I spill the beans, my soon-to-be ex-wife will become hostile, making the divorce process even harder. My patience isn't limitless. I will tell them eventually if she doesn't come clean soon. I don't want the real reasons for the divorce to become public either. We live in a small community, and the truth could eventually reach our kids, leading to them being picked on. I'd rather the truth remain with our closest friends and family. While the official explanation is that we're divorcing due to growing apart and wanting different things, I also don't want to be known as the poor guy whose wife cheated on him. Now, there are a lot of loose ends to tie up. We need to sell our house and find apartments for ourselves. Custody will be shared, with me having the kids 1 week and their mother the next. I feel like their legal address should be with me so that I won't have to pay her child support. It seems unfair after what she did. I have no idea how this will all end, but typically, in my country, the mother tends to get what she wants because everyone feels sorry for them. I will fight for my kids, though,